You were speaking about looking backwards. I had a Charlotte Dennett here as a guest a little while ago.
I know her well.
And she wrote a book about prosecuting George Bush for murder, for taking us into Iraq on the basis of weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist, and he knew they didn't exist.
We would never invade a country that had nuclear weapons.
But she's running now for Attorney General of the state of Vermont. So people can vote for her in November.
The difference between Charlotte and Rosemarie Jakowski is that Charlotte has picked on the scapegoat, because it has nothing to do with Bush. As I said earlier, Bush doesn't have a tank, he doesn't have a gun, he doesn't have a soldier, and he doesn't have the authority to go to war unless Congress gives it to him.
But he and his family have an enormous amount of money.
Oh yeah, and his grandfather worked for the Nazis. I mean, his grandfather almost went to prison for trading with the enemy, Prescott Bush.
But they're definitely part of this plutocratic oligarchy that's behind the Congress, and that's...
Yeah, but it's behind the Congress. I mean, where did Leahy get $3 million? I mean, if I have 30. Actually, I have 90. 95, I can't remember.
95 million?
Dollars.
Oh, dollars.
Dollars as a candidate.
And Leahy has 3 million.
3 million.
And you have 95.
Yeah, 90, yeah.
Not very equal. Are you going to enter the debates? For do you think Leahy will debate with you?
I'm not going to enter any debates unless I'm invited. I've sworn to my kids that I would never get arrested again. I've been beaten up too many times. I'm too old. I'm almost 80 years old. I can't take it.
I remember 2 years ago when you were running for governor.
No, I wasn't running for governor. I was a candidate for governor.
A candidate for governor from Liberty Union.
Yeah.
And in Waitsfield, they had a debate, and Liberty Union at that time was a
major party.
Major party.
And they said the debate was for major party candidates. And I showed up, and I got dragged away by the state police, and I got arrested. And
the police actually dragged you
oh,
away
yeah,
from
through the rain for about 60 yards. But I feel sorry for them because Doris was there, too, and she was yelling at them all the way about First Amendment rights and blah, blah, blah. She gave them such a ration. I wouldn't want to be them.
I remember we talked about that 2 years ago right here in the studio.
Oh, did we?
And if people want to see it, it's on YouTube. They can watch our discussion of that. But you know, this time, in this election cycle, Dennis Steele, the independent candidate for governor, has been arrested for not for trying to join the debate, but just for speaking out at the debate and asking questions.
Yeah, that's democracy.
Democracy in America.
Right, democracy in America. You know, in some countries, they make it a point to give the candidates who have the least amount of financial resources, and they give them more time on television. I think it's in the Netherlands. And I think Belgium. But here, we just try and stifle every voice. I mean, this is a country of stifling anybody who doesn't speak the party line. That's why people can't shake free. You have to discover it for yourself. There's a line from Chomsky. I can't recite it exactly, but it's in Necessary Illusions. I can even, in my volume of it, it's page 48. I've looked at it a number of times. Chomsky says, in a democracy, quote unquote, the debate is forced to rage within parameters set by the ruling elites. And anything outside, any thoughts outside those parameters is called unthinkable thought. And I have often begun my talks by saying that and saying, and I, as a Liberty Union candidate, and now as a Socialist Party candidate, want to bring you some unthinkable thoughts. Because that's, I mean, I'd be wasting my time if I wanted to repeat the hokey that Leahy and the rest of them. And that's what I admire about Steele. I mean, he's quite articulate and bright. I'm not in agreement with a lot of what he has to say, but he brings a new set of thoughts to it. Ben Mitchell, too, as a Liberty Union candidate. very bright, former college administrator, classroom teacher. Oh, I know where I wanted to go back to was Charlotte Dennett and Rosemary Jakowski, who was there long before Charlotte Dennett. But she was there to prosecute not Bush. This was during the Bush administration. We didn't have Obama to pick on then. Not just Bush, but the colonels and the majors and the generals who followed the orders to violate international law in violation of their own code of military justice. And she has a number of pieces written about that on her website. And I advise you, if you're interested in seeing the broader picture, instead of making Bush the scapegoat, looking at the broader picture, you might want to look at dissent at sova.net. Dissent at sova.net. That's the only way she gets her message out. Is
That's D-I-S-S-E-N-T?
D-I-S-S-E-N-T, yeah.
At the @
Yeah.
silver.net.
Sover. Sover.net.
S-O-V-E-R.
Yeah, if
.net.
I've got it wrong, I'll get back to you, but I think it's at sover.net. And she can't travel. She's got some physical problems that make it difficult for her to travel, and lives in abject poverty.
Is she a lawyer?
No,
No.
no. See, that's people get their brains crushed by law school. I used to tell my kids when they were going to school, the longer you go to school, the stupider you get. And that's what happens. I mean,